Welcome to Overgo World, making your life better through tech, vacations and other great things. Remember to subscribe so that you don't miss out on our latest videos. You're here with Jay and I've got the new BOOX Go Color 7. Now you might be thinking, is this a good product? If you've seen all those YouTube videos out there with people getting free products from BOOX, they're probably saying, yes, it's a brilliant product. I haven't got this free, I haven't got it from BOOX, I've bought it myself. So I'm giving you an honest review and I'll give you a spoiler alert. You do not want to be buying this product and I'll tell you why. But before I get into that, you might be thinking, okay, well, it looks like a good product, you know. And so let me deal with a couple of the positives first. The actual form factor is great. It is a small, compact shape. The actual feel of this material is good. It's got a nice tactile feel on the back. It feels good in the hand. It looks quite premium as well, especially in this sort of white finish. Weight-wise, there's another positive there. It's quite lightweight. Let's put it on the trusty scale and see how much it comes in at. We've got our trusty scale here. Let's put it on. Let's see how much this thing weighs in at. 184 grams. And let's get our trusty ruler. And we are looking at a length of 15 centimeters, a width of just over 30, it's about 13 centimeters. But let's have a look at the screen as well, because obviously that's smaller. So the screen itself is coming in at about 14 centimeters, and the width of that screen is coming in about 10.5 centimeters. So that's something you need to bear in mind. It is quite a small form factor. It is quite similar, as I will show you in a second, similar in terms of dimensions to the old Kindle Oasis. So I've got here a old Kindle Oasis that I've been using as my trusty Kindle. And if you have a look, these are pretty much identical in terms of dimensions, in terms of width, in terms of height. The old Kindle Oasis is a bit thicker than the BOOX, but other than that, they are the same kind of form factor as well. Now you may be thinking, okay, well that sounds quite good at the moment. So what's the downside? Well, as that old song goes, what is war good for? Absolutely nothing. That could be applied to this as well, because you will see this product is simply awful. Right, so I'm going to have a look at this product for the main purpose of this product, which is an e-reader. If you have a look at some of the other reviews out there, they show this product for using it for audiobooks or browsing the web or looking at YouTube videos. That's not what you're buying this product for. You're buying this product as an e-reader. And the main things that you would be using it as an e-reader for are probably Kindle books. You're going to be looking at PDFs. You may also want to be using something like the Readly app for magazines. And those are the three purposes that I got it for. And unfortunately, it just doesn't do a good enough job with any of those. So I'm going to show you all of these briefly, and there will be separate videos which are more in depth, looking at each of these as a comparison to other products. But if we have a look at this is looking in the Readly app. So it's looking at a magazine here. Now, if I scroll through this, you can just see how awful that scrolling is. Now, those of you who are familiar with BOOX products will be aware that you can change the speed on these. That's what I'm going to do. So I am going to go down into the e-ink center, and you can change this from normal speed A2 to Regal. Now what they recommend is you go with A2, and that's meant to be for pictures and for text, and it's going to reduce the ghosting. And now when I'm scrolling, you can see that is a better experience. But if you look at this picture, look how much ghosting there is in this. This picture is not clear at all. You can't read any of the text there either. So when you start scrolling in and you have a look at this, you can see all of the ghosting behind. It is, it's not a good view at all. If I try to increase the sort of refresh rate, so if we go into e-ink and we change this to Regal, which is meant to give you minimal ghosting, then you can see it's all cleared up now. It's easier to read. But when I'm scrolling, that's an awful experience there as you're sort of moving around the image. Now, you may be thinking, okay, well, with these magazine articles, especially with Readly, you've got an article view, which is meant to make it easier to view the article. So if I click on article view there, you've got the text here, which is better, and that looks nice and clear there. But when I'm scrolling up, again, you get this sort of flashing distraction as you're reading it. And scrolling down like this, it isn't a great experience when you're getting this sort of flash. Again, if I take this down and I go into the e-ink center and I say, okay, well, let's go with A2, which is the recommended one for images and text. When I go through, you can see all of this sort of ghosting. You can see it sort of grayed out. It's not a great experience for reading a magazine, so it's not something that I would recommend for that. Have a look at our other video where I do compare the Readly experience on different products, including this one, so that you can see a more in-depth view of having the experience on a magazine reader. So I'm now going to show you how this looks with the Kindle app. So one of the advantages of the books products compared to just a regular Amazon Kindle is that you do get the benefit of the Play Store. So having the Google Play Store, you can download apps. You can see there, I've downloaded the Kindle app. I've downloaded Google Drive, which allows me to put documents on this. Also, I've downloaded the Adobe Acrobat Reader app as well, which I'll be showing you. But this is running Android 12, which means that you may not necessarily have the latest updated versions of these apps. The actual resolution of this for black and white is 300 pixels per inch, and for color it is 150 pixels per inch. The display there looks quite bright because it's got the adjustable front lights there. It also has a gyro which allows you to rotate. So as soon as I've rotated that, you can see it's gone from portrait to landscape, which is quite good. Now, one of the things that books say about this device is that the Kaleido 3 color screen gives you a pleasurable reading experience. Now, as you've probably seen from that Readly example that I've just shown you in the magazine, it's far from pleasurable at all, and definitely not worth the 280 euros that they're charging for this. In terms of memory as well, you've got 64 gigabytes of storage as well as a micro SD card to put additional sort of storage on this. But let's now get into the Kindle app, having sort of shown you all that, because one would think with all of that, that's great, we should be able to read all of our books on there. Well, let me just click into the Kindle app and let me just show you the experience. So I'm just going into the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I've got on Kindle. Now you might think, okay, well that doesn't look too bad. So this is in the Kindle app. What I haven't showed you, and what I am going to show you now, is I've put the brightness almost on maximum. So let me turn this down. So as you can see there, if I turn both the warmth down to 0, so it's almost got a bluey colour. But if I turn the brightness down, completely down, this is what you get on the BOOX Go Color 7. So it's a really dim image. Now, this is a problem with any color e-reader that you have. It is so much dimmer than a normal black and white e-reader. And in our separate video on the Kindle, I will show you a side-by-side comparison between the Go Color 7 and another BOOX product, as well as the Kindle Oasis, to show you how dark this is. But as you can see there, it is a very dark experience. If we start turning it up, so if I just start turning it up here, and you can sort of see the brightness coming up, and I'll get it up to a level where I would think, okay, that's probably comfortable reading. I'm almost at the sort of full mode there, and you can sort of see that. Now, the whole point of an e-reader is meant to be really easy on the eyes to read at, but as you can see, there's quite a lot of brightness which I have to sort of put on here to get it to that level. If I go on to maximum, there's not that much more. That's what it looks like, and that to me is too bright on the eyes. So one of the things that I've liked with my e-readers in the past, the black and white ones, is that it's quite close to reading as if you're reading a paper document. It reduces the eye strain. That, unfortunately, is not the experience you get with this product. Because of the color e-ink, you have to go quite high on the brightness. Now, in terms of using it as a normal e-reader, you can use the buttons on the side to sort of advance pages here. You've got to kind of do a bit of a workaround, because you've got to set these buttons as increasing the volume, and then you set this as doing a page turn. In the separate video, I'll show you that as well. So it's just one of those other things that isn't intuitive. If you set these switches in the system settings to do page turn, they actually won't work in the Kindle app to do page turn, which is quite bizarre. In terms of moving to different pages, you've got that. In terms of sort of increasing the size, you've got that as well. So although it works in terms of the Kindle app, the downside and the reason why I can't recommend it is the fact that you've got to set the brightness up so high that it almost feels a bit like reading off an iPad rather than an e-reader. One other thing that I'd like to sort of show about the e-reader is if you turn this around, this is one thing that the Kindle can't do, that you sort of flip it over and it goes with the gyro to landscape mode. So although that is a plus, the downside is, again, the high display. And you might think, okay, well, let's switch it to a black color backdrop and see how that looks. Now, if you click on this, you can go into the settings for Kindle, and it has got some of the settings here. So if I click on black there, and you've got the black background there, you can already see the ghosting here. So those options that I had, you've got those ghosting options there, which are quite distracting again. If I click down, I go into the e-ink center. I've got it on speed at the moment. If I try maybe clicking on normal, let's have a look at that. It is now cleaner on that. Let's see what happens when we turn the page. But as you can see, when I turn the page, that's quite an awful experience, moving from one page to the other. So if you do put it on the black, and you can even see it as I sort of pull down from there, that is such a, the display there is just awful. And it takes it takes a few attempts to kind of do the stuff. The other thing I want to just show you is, again, if I click on the display here, go into this, try choosing a different color. So we go with, say, the green background there, and I click on that. Again, you can see the ghosting quite badly there. So I've got a green background. It's actually got the dialog box turning this a darker shade of green compared to the top. So I'm going to need to go into the e-ink center again. And let's say, okay, let's see what happens with E2. E2 is like that. Turn that over. That's a better display, but you can see all the ghosting around the side there. If I go into the reduce ghosting, which is Regal, I try that. That's a much cleaner area there, but then you get this sort of flashing experience. As you can see with all of these, it is not a nice user experience for reading something, especially if you're coming from a Kindle experience or reading on other products like an iPad. So now we're going to have a look at using this for PDFs. Looking at it from PDFs, we've still got the same issues that we've got with using it with the Kindle app. You've got to have the screen brightness up quite high. Also, it feels quite sluggish in terms of turning pages. So again, if I just go into the e-ink center, if I set it on speed and I go in, so I've got a document here, that you can sort of see the speed there turning from one page to another there. And this is on the quick speed mode. If I go into if I scroll down, go into e-ink center and go on to, say, A2, which is where you've got images. Seems to be slightly quicker, but it's, again, not a great experience, as you can sort of see with the ink down the side. Now, when you're looking at this, you're obviously restricted by the small screen size. If you decide, okay, well, let's zoom in. If you zoom into this, again, it takes a little bit of time to do the actual zooming. So once you've got the zooming there, you can zoom in. If you zoom in too much, it doesn't reformat. You've got to move around to sort of view, which again, for a PDF document that you're reading, isn't going to be great if it is sort of a single column. Also, if you zoom into an area that you think, okay, well, that kind of works there, as soon as you go on to the next page, you're going to have to do it all over again. So, that's a bit fiddly there. What you can do is you can turn this around, and therefore you've got more space when you are zooming in. The other thing that you can do with but you've still got the same issue that when you flip pages, your back zoomed out. One way around it is to try to use the liquid mode in Adobe. When you use the liquid mode in Adobe, so if I just close this out, then what actually happens there with liquid mode is it's sort of at a larger size as you're going through the pages and you're just scrolling through. But as you can probably sort of see as I'm going through there, that it is probably better, but you're kind of fixed at what size you're going to be looking at that document. The other downside with liquid mode on Adobe is that it only works for up to about documents of about 200 pages. If your document's greater than 200 pages, you can't get this and you're back to the non-liquid mode display, which is this. So again, not a great experience. I am going to also quickly just show you how it looks in NeoReader. So if you are going to use it for PDFs, NeoReader is probably a better product to have a look at. So books have their own reader in there called NeoReader, which you don't have to download. It's already in there when you're viewing PDFs. You may find this a better viewing experience for PDFs. So I've just put in a document in here as a PDF document. So it's got some blue in there. It's got some fractions in there, some formulae in there. It's got a diagram in there. If I turn this around, it will reformat. I can zoom in as well. So that sort of works as well. But just like Adobe, if I zoom in too much, you're in that same situation that you can't then see the entire document. Now, if you do not have diagrams and sort of fractions and other documents, you've just got a reading document in there. What you may want to do with e-reader is, with the Neo e-reader, is use some of their features to just read the document, which you can do by clicking on this, going into this option here on the side, and sorry, if we just go back, let me just click on that again. It is this one, which is for reflowing documents. You can click on text-based, click on OK, and then what you can see there is this will, if you zoom in, it will actually reformat the text. But what you do is you lose a lot of detail then. You lose the diagrams, you lose the formulae, the fractions. So it really depends what kind of document you're looking at, because I've zoomed out there and you can see you've lost quite a lot of the information that was there before. If you're reading a plain text document, no formulae, no diagrams, you may want to do this because it gives you this zoom option with refresh. If not, you're going to have to use the other format version. So just as we're coming up to the end of this video, this is the product switched off. It says make a difference. Did it make a difference to me? It certainly did not. We've had a look at 3 key elements. How is it for reading magazines using something like the Readly app? Really poor experience. You wouldn't be able to use it at all. How is it with Kindle? Well, my view is you might as well get a Kindle, because you are going to suffer from eye strain using this product because of the brightness levels you're going to have to put it up. For the same reason, for PDFs, which is another reason why you'd be coming to this Books product, you're better off getting one of the larger screen Books products, and I'll show that in a head-to-head comparison with this in one of our other videos to show the much better experience you get on the larger Books product than this. So unfortunately, it doesn't score well for any of those products, and for how much you're paying for this, I really cannot recommend it. You are better off going with one of the other products. And to show you a head-to-head for magazine reading, for reading on the Kindle, and also reading PDFs with this product, check out our other videos. We hope you enjoyed watching this, so please feel free to hit the like button and remember to subscribe for great upcoming videos. Thank you and see you next time.